Hello and welcome back to another episode of With Love Mama, the podcast. I hope you're doing well, and I'm very looking forward to getting into this episode speaking about birth plans, because since I've been interviewing lots and lots of mums to come on the podcast and share their experiences with birth and beyond, it has become extremely apparent to me how often they are told to create a birth plan and not a birth compass or a birth map. So I want to speak us through that, because you don't need a birth plan, because a plan is actually really rooted in control. Like, you think that it's a very rigid expectation of how birth should go. And things often do not go in a linear, is that the word? Yes, linear sort of like direction. We've got waves, we've got ebbs and flows and different rhythms in different bodies. So when it doesn't go to this exact plan that's written, it can very much feel like a failure, and it can very much feel like you're doing it wrong. And we don't want to feel that way, because you're never birthing incorrectly. Your body knows how to birth, and whether your birth is through natural, medicated, unmedicated, cesarean, in the water, on the land, whatever, that is your story, and you have not failed by bringing your child into this world. And I want to make that really, really clear. So it's not that birth plans are terrible, it's just that they are terribly incomplete of what we actually want to go into such an unexpected experience with, because you cannot control birth, but we can control how we are actually facing birth. So we don't want to finish our birth feeling disappointed or disempowered, because that just does not support our postpartum experience. And it really takes away from, again, how incredible it is to give birth, and like how amazing your body is. So I always love when I do my doula sessions with clients as well, and we're focusing in on like, how do we want birth to look? Rather than doing a plan, we're doing more of a compass. It's like a map. So a plan, again, like I said, it's very fixed. It's very one way, like this is the only way. And it also really takes away from your internal power, because it's not allowing the flow of what may be required in your own story. Whereas if we're following a compass, if we've got, a range of different routes to take, roads to take, paths to take, rather than just the one, it's very flexible. It allows you to be very connected to your internal guidance and your intuition, which is extremely powerful and empowering for a birthing woman to be more about the surrender to the experience with pieces in place to know that if it doesn't go this way, we can shift direction slightly and still get to an end destination without it feeling as though we're at the end of like a roadblock. So we're letting go of the control, but it's still bringing in a sense of, you feel as though you have control over the situation, even though you don't, because it's an empowering sense of control, in the way that if we turn down this road and it's a dead end, we actually know that we can turn up here and go a different way, kind of thing. And what we're actually focusing in on when you've got a birth compass more than a plan is actually having a deep understanding of your values. So what actually matters most to you in birth. And we're also looking at what are your non-negotiables versus things that you would prefer. So for one birthing woman, it may be a non-negotiable is no student midwife in the room, but a preference would be, I would prefer not to have a cervical check, but I'm open to it. So that's a non-negotiable, no students, but a preference is, I would probably prefer not to have a cervical check, but I am open to it if necessary. Just as a example. Another thing that a birth, like having the compass actually also includes, is very much having an understanding of how you respond to states of stress. Sorry if you can hear me walking around my house. Oh my gosh. Is how you respond to states of like stress and your nervous system being in not stress, your nervous system being in a dysregulated state. So we want to understand like how do you usually feel when you're under pressure, and just understanding those triggers and those pieces of you that may come alive just in everyday pressure, so that we can bring in like the tools that we know support your body to regulate, and to stay very grounded in your body, and to like trust in your ability to actually move through the rhythm of labor and to make decisions moment to moment, which we don't want to be in that like logical state. But this, like having the compass and having that awareness around how you operate and that connection to yourself and your nervous system is so empowering, because you might be someone who intensity brings on anxiety. But then how do we alleviate that anxiety? It might be through breath work, or it might be through movement, or it might be through sound. And then we know when we're in that state of labor that if we bring in some of these tools to regulate, it's actually going to anchor you back into feeling safe in the intensity. So it's not just about writing a plan, it's actually exploring different scenarios and how we're going to move through those scenarios. Like I said, like it's like we're getting to a roundabout and we can take various different routes, and we've got the option to do so. And it's just to create safety in the unknown of what birth may be, because it is very much an unknown experience. We don't actually know what we're moving into. So it's, very important. Another thing that we do is like just preparing for the unexpected, because then it doesn't feel like it's going to be a shock. And it's like, it's very much just informed and not just having like the knowledge, but also feeling the embodiment of it in your body, and trusting in yourself. So if I give you some examples of like what this might look like, is you want to have a water birth, but then you end up having an induction and you're not allowed in the water, or you don't want to get in the water, or the water wasn't an option, I should say, but it still felt powerful. So really what that is nothing went to your plan, because your plan was to have a water birth. But if we're going by a plan, not having the water birth is a failure, right? So instead of having a plan, we're having a compass and it's moving from, it didn't go to plan, but I didn't feel out of control because I knew how to navigate that. So it's like everything changed and everything didn't go the way that you wanted, but it was still an empowering experience because you went in understanding the ways it could go. So I just really think that, that this is the missing piece for so many women, is if you go into it with just, this is exactly how it's going to be. And also I want to add, you might be stubborn and it might just exactly go that way for you. And that's kind of what happened for me, in the sense of like, I was just like, nope, I'm doing it this way. And it happened that way. But I also did do the work around like it being able to go different ways. But, I'm not taking away from the stubbornness of many of us women have, in that we always will get our own way. But I do just want to really bring light to having a plan can be disempowering, but having a compass or a map can be extremely empowering, because it gives you back your power in the plan not going perfectly. It gives you back your power in your ability to adapt and change and stay connected to yourself, and also know that like, even though you don't know the outcome, you know that it is a positive experience because you've really looked at the different ways that it can go. So I think some practical things to like think about if you are now currently planning for a birth is asking yourself like, what actually matters most to you in birth? Is it safety? Is it your environment? Is it the way that your birth goes? Is it medicated? Is it unmedicated? What is it? And like really exploring that. And how do you want to feel regardless of the path that you take to meeting your baby? I know a lot of women probably want to feel empowered. They want to feel like they trust themselves. They want to feel extremely, I can't think of the word. My baby brain is so annoying sometimes. I did not get baby brain this bad with my first, but I guess now that I have a toddler and like I'm working and then I'm pregnant, like I think it's just like it's really getting me some days. So I've just completely lost track of where I was going with that one. So we'll just leave that one there. we're just like talking about questions. Or like where, like a good question that you could ask yourself is, where do you usually lose trust or give your power away? And this is a good one, because if you didn't listen, go back and listen to one of my previous episodes about subconscious patterns in like labor and birth. That could be a really good episode for you to listen to, and then answer the question, like, where do you usually lose trust or give your power away? Because a lot of the time we fall into those. Okay, you probably wouldn't have even noticed in the recording just then, but my phone started ringing and I record on my phone. So we're just going to take off from wherever I was up to. But I think I was just speaking about like the subconscious parts and how they can come into be our controlling part of self in labor. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Baby brain, phone ringing. We're ending this episode on a high, clearly. But I do want to just say, if you are going into birth soon, first, second, doesn't matter how many times you've given birth, just remember you don't need a birth plan, but you do need this. So definitely ask yourself those questions. Go back and listen to the episode I was referring to. And also, if you would like support in this, I just want to remind you that this is actually work that I do with my clients. Building out your birth compass. It's not just a piece of paper with this is exactly how birth is going to go, and you walk away and then it doesn't go that way and then you feel like a failure. No, we're removing that failure piece, and it's actually allowing you to move into birth knowing that you can't control it, but you can navigate it. So if you're feeling nervous about birth and you would like to have that support, I do virtual sessions. So just reach out to me on Instagram. I leave everything linked below, so it's easy to find me. And just know that you actually deserve to feel in your power, empowered, no matter how your birth unfolds. And that's exactly what this can do for you. So I hope you love this episode. So sorry for the baby brain, but I'm not cutting it out, because you know what? It's a part of motherhood. It just happens. I think even if I have a 10-year-old, I'll probably have baby brain. It's just a part of it. We just have so much going on as mums because we just care so much. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I'm really looking forward to being back in your ears this Friday with another guest episode, and then next week with a solo episode. I'll talk to you then. Bye.